Brought to you by BEG Sports. If the NCAA tournament was the main course, the Olympic team trials are the creme de la creme of desserts. Macho Man Randy Savage said it best.
I am the cream, the cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better than the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah.
I have always seen the U.S. World Team Trials Tournament as the wish list of matchups between former NCAA champions spanning 6 to 8 years. If you have ever had the argument, who would win between X and Y if they wrestled at the same time in college? The emergence of the regional training center model has allowed for more athletes to continue to wrestle post-college and gives us those answers. Combine that with the collapsed 6th international freestyle weight classes, forcing guys going up and down, and we are guaranteed to have fire matchups from round one. Make no doubt about it, NCAA champions will go 0-2 in this tournament. It's no secret the bar raises during an Olympic year. Many Olympic title contenders around the world take their foot off the pedal and only pick and choose their competitions with the intent of load management in non-Olympic years. But that all goes out the window for 2024 in Paris. Most countries only compete in continentals or big tournaments. Heck, Japan's team rarely even wrestle in the World Championships and only compete at the Olympics. For some of these weights, whoever wins this tournament and is the U.S. representative will be the favorite to win or at least bring home hardware in Paris. USA Wrestling has never been in a better state. And while there are some favorites to make the team, other weights are super deep and a complete toss-up. 2024 brings even more drama to the mix as many of our top guys have made it clear that this is their last quad. Gilman, Zane, David Taylor, and the legend Jordan Burroughs have all said that this is it. Paris gold or bust. It will be a bittersweet tournament watching some of the greatest wrestlers in the history of USA Wrestling leave their shoes on the mat. Now the last chance qualifier is wrapped up. We have our field set. Let's jump in and go through a preview of the 2024 U.S. Olympic Team Trials, starting at 57 kilograms. Side note, this weight is still not qualified for America to go to the Olympics. So after this tournament, the winner will need to fly to Turkey on May 9th and win that tournament for our country's representative to gain entry to the Olympics. 57 kilogram title contenders include Dayton Fix, Thomas Gilman, Zane Richards, Spencer Lee, and Nick Suriano. Up front, I'll admit this weight could mimic the 2024 NCAA 125-pound season with its depth and lack of clear frontrunner. Every fan base would argue their guy is the guy for the 57 kilogram spot, but there's a long list of arguments of why they would be wrong. This weight is wide open. One of the big obstacles for many of the top guys at this weight will be performing well after a heavy weight cut. Some are dropping from 61 kilograms or 133 pounds, so those first round matchups right off the scale could be tougher than later rounds. Breaking news: 61 kilogram world champion Vito Arujau is withdrawing from the Olympic team trials due to the weight cut being too insurmountable. His dad, Bogar, indicated he will shift his focus to the 2025 World Championships at 61 kilograms. As a spectator, I am bummed for Vito, but look forward to seeing him in action soon. As we are all in the final days of preparation for Olympic team trials, I am sure many competitors just breathed a sigh of relief knowing they will not have to face Vito. Now on to 2021 World Champion Thomas Gilman. Hasn't competed much this year, but was a consistent rep for the U.S. at 57 kilograms for a number of years. His absence may be more associated with the birth of his second child rather than anything else, so I am really interested to see what version of Gilman we get. The weight cut is a challenge with Gilman. It's well documented how much he is cutting from his walking around weight. He is a multiple-time world medalist and in my opinion has been the most consistent in his performances at the world level. I say that, but I am also absolutely dumbfounded when Zane Richards beat him in 2 straight matches. So let's move to Zane. He beat nearly every guy in this weight class a year ago to win the 57 kilogram spot in 2023. His lack of success at Worlds certainly rubbed the wrestling community the wrong way, but there is no doubting his accomplishments and his deserved spot on this team. Can he repeat that success? I think not, but I was wrong before. I think the guy with the most momentum right now is Spencer Lee. Regardless of how you feel about Spencer, I am pretty sure he is the most followed wrestler on the planet across all social media, and for good reason. The most dominant 125-pound wrestler has battled injuries and Twitter trolls that would cause the toughest of competitors to hang up their shoes and move on to the next stage of their lives. Not Spencer. This year, he has torched anyone who has towed the line across from him with ease. Looking back throughout his storied career, his top game has always been the differentiator fighter, regardless of folk style or freestyle. I am not being facetious when I say he could leg lace competitors at 65 or 74 kilograms. Moving on to one of the strangest guys in the field, hashtag Handsome Tuesday's own Nick Suriano. He secured his spot by winning Pan Am Championships, so we haven't seen him compete against many US guys in some time. He always brings tight and controversial matches, and I expect that to continue. Finally, we got the cowboy, Daton Fix. While he may not have achieved his NCAA goals in 7 years, he has always had more success in freestyle. He's a former world silver medalist, so regardless of how good the field is, it's a fact that Daton can avenge any NCAA shortcomings and make the US team and even bring home Olympic gold. This weight is a complete toss-up, and whoever you pick to win this isn't a bad answer, with the exception of Zane. I think every guy can win gold in Paris, so the US is in a great place here. On to 65 kilogram title contenders: Yianni Diakomihalis, Nick Lee, Bo Bartlett, Andrew Alirez, Zane Rutherford, Joey McKenna, Caleb Henson, and Jesse Mendez. Side note, this weight is still not qualified for America to go to the Olympics, so after this tournament, the winner will need to fly to Turkey on May 9th and win that tournament for our country's representative to gain entry to the Olympics. 65 kilograms follows suit with a ton of depth and no clear favorite. Haters may point to Yianni, Nick Lee, or even Zane being the favorite, but there are hard arguments against each of them. Zane is the only competitor with a world gold on their resume, but he is coming down from 70 kilograms. Zane was big for 65 kilograms when he was 23 years old. Now at 29, can he make that descent down to 143 pounds and still perform at that elite level? It's a tall order, but we have all watched Zane's dominance for nearly a decade. Nick Lee had maybe started to emerge as the favorite, but he has taken some strange losses and has been pushed to the brink against guys you wouldn't expect to hang with him. He has a near limitless gas tank, and I'd look for him to go very far in this tournament. He also seems to be the only American that has figured out Yianni. Yianni has the most European style of wrestling that has resulted in a ton of international success. The Olympic team trials might be Yianni's biggest challenge. If he can navigate this field, I would pick him up against the rest of the world's best, but he hasn't consistently done that on US soil, so it seems like an uphill battle. I'll group the rest of the title contenders into the same next tier, but it almost seems disrespectful to do so because of just how dangerous they can be. Henson and Mendez looked very good at NCAA. Bartlett has taken Nick Lee to the edge like 3 separate times. McKenna is really consistent and has had a ton of freestyle success in his own regard, beating Nick Lee and Yianni on multiple occasions. Each of them could make a run and it wouldn't surprise me. Finally, the most anticipated new title contender is Andrew Alirez. After winning NCAAs last year, he went on an absolute tear, waxing everyone at senior nationals. That performance has caused many to pick Alirez to come out on top of this weight class, and for really good reasons. His aggression and pressure was nonstop and oppressive to his opponents. If that guy shows up to Olympic team trials in Paris, we bring home a medal for sure. 65 kilograms has been a curse for the US, failing to medal at Worlds or the Olympics since Bill Zadick won gold nearly 2 decades ago in 2006. Whoever our guy is at 65 has to qualify this weight, and they just have to figure out a way to break this curse in Paris. As confident as I am on any of these US guys, 65 kilograms is so loaded at the world level that even medaling is a tall order. There's Otorgu from Japan, Aliyev from Azerbaijan, Yazdani from Iran, Punia from India, and Rashida from Russia, who are all former Olympic and world champions. 74 kilogram title contenders include James Green, Kyle Dake, Jordan Burroughs, Mitchell Messenbrink, Keegan O'Toole, Jason Knopf, Carter Starachi, Chance Marsteller, and David Carr. This is a long list of title contenders, and in all reality, it comes down to just 2 guys, Jordan Burroughs and Kyle Dake. Burroughs the king, the captain, the face of USA Wrestling, 7-time world and Olympic champion. I heavily credit Burroughs being a huge component to wrestling's resurgence back to what it is today after wrestling was removed from the Olympics in 2013. When wrestling was in its darkest days, Jordan was the guy who towed the line against any competitor to grow the sport and increase publicity and hype around exhibition events. Look back at the Beat the Streets events to see who headlined those matches. Spoiler alert, it was Jordan. When the next generation of elite guys entered the senior circuit, it was Burroughs that set their careers back, causing them to move to other weight classes for over a decade. He has faced a tumultuous time in wrestling as rule changes completely changed how matches were wrestled. Back when they used to have 1-point takedowns and a wrestler would have to win individual periods in order to win a match. After nearly 13 years at the senior level, he has said this is his last year, and unbelievably, he has an uphill battle to re-secure his spot on the US team. Dake has emerged and not just the heavy favorite, but seems to be more consistent and confident than ever before at this weight and at home with the training program at Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. Nolf and Marsteller have had their own freestyle success, and the young Starachi, Carr, Messenbrink, O'Toole, Chenzo are going to be a blast to watch. But I think this comes down to Burroughs and Date. Is this the Burroughs revenge tour, or has his time passed and 74 kilograms now belongs to Kyle? Whoever wins the US spot will still need to dig deep to do something that has never been done before in Paris, and that's for someone to beat Sidakov. The Russian squeaked out multiple wins against Burroughs and has only gotten better over the years. The ultimate US versus Russia match between Kyle Dake and Sidakov found itself falling a little short in height because Sidakov's dominance during that match. Similar to 65 kilograms, I am super confident in whoever is our rep for Paris, but to be clear, Olympic gold has eluded the US since Burroughs won in 2012. Bringing this back to the Olympic team trials, here's a fun fact. Just the title contenders that I have listed have 13 NCAA championships amongst them. Do not skip any of these matches, as each and every round will be an all-star match that will be so fun to watch. Who do you think would win between Starachi or Jason Nolf? Chenzo, Messenbrink? We could finally find out. 86 kilogram title contenders include David Taylor, Aaron Brooks, Trent Hidlay, Parker Keckeisen, Alex Deringer, Zahid Valencia. Similar to 74 kilograms, I listed more contenders than is realistically accurate. This is David Taylor's weight class until he no longer wants it. David could be the greatest American wrestler and break every record he ever wanted if he wrestled long enough. Other countries have changed their lineups in order to avoid 86 kilograms because of David. The only person who has beaten him has been Iran's Yazdani, and the record is still heavily tipped in favor of David in that matchup 5-1. Aaron Brooks and Zahid, I think, will emerge from the bracket to face off against Taylor in the finals. Parker could be the next guy after David walks away from the sport and had an incredible NCAA season, and Deringer may finally be healthy for the first time in a few years. But I think Brooks is the one who comes out on top of this group. We have seen Brooks versus Taylor before, and it's been razor close, but Taylor always finds a way to win. I predict that story remains unchanged for this tournament as well. 97 kilogram title contenders include Kyle Snyder, Jaden Cox, Mike Machiavello, and Nate Jackson. 97 kilograms has been Kyle Snyder's weight class since 2015, and Captain America will look to keep that trend going. Kyle will be sitting in the finals, where Machiavello and Cox are likely to battle for that right to wrestle him. Machiavello has been consistently beating the US field at 97 kilograms this last quad. I think his only losses have been to either Jaden or Kyle. Nate has been hot and cold at times, but Nate's double leg has given him feet to back points on regular occasions. In freestyle, that one exchange may be the only score needed to hang on for a win, so him making the finals isn't likely, but could definitely happen. Jaden had a wild weigh-in mishap, which prevented him from competing in the last challenge tournament. I hope we can avoid any distractions like that and have a Jaden Kyle Snyder finals match. We have only ever seen it once in an exhibition match during COVID, where Kyle handed Jaden pretty comfortably. That was a weird time, so I don't put much credit in that match as a representative of how close this match will be. The biggest shakeup to this weight is the recent news that Russia's 97 kilogram Sadulov has been told he will not be admitted to Paris to compete. Sadulov is the world's pound for pound best wrestler and has been Kyle's kryptonite for many years now. With him sidelined, I think this is the US's best chance to win 97 kilograms again. Regardless, if Kyle continues his supremacy at 97 kilograms or if Jaden pulls the upset, I will be expecting a gold medal in Paris for the US. 125 kilogram title contenders include Mason Paris, Hayden Zilmer, Nick Gwizdowski, Wyatt Hendrickson, Don Bradley, Greg Kirkville, and Gable Stevenson. Finally, the heavy Chevys at 125. This will be interesting because I think the best wrestler in the world won't even be competing, Gable Stevenson. There is a lot of confusion around his WWE contract and being able to compete. Every few months I hear he's wrestling and then nothing happens. He is technically qualified, but I don't believe he will be in State College for the Olympic team trials weekend. I kind of hope I'm wrong here. He brings an X factor that the world has not seen before with the big boys. If not, we will have to continue to wait for the Gable-Zaire matchup or Gable-Gino rematch from 2020. So with that, I think it will ultimately come down to Paris versus Kirkville for the US spot. They have seemed to emerge and separate themselves, which is a little surprising as Gwiz is a multi-time world bronze medalist. Kirk had Paris's number up until last year, where Paris really made leaps and bounds in improvement. He handled Big Greg in a way we hadn't seen before. There were rumors Greg wasn't 100%, and after the dominance he had at this year's NCAAs, series, it really looks like this rivalry will continue. I think both of these guys are a threat to earn a gold medal. Both guys represent strong heavyweights that show a level of athleticism most big guys aren't used to. All right, folks, that's all I got for the 2024 Olympic Team Trials preview. Let me know who you're picking to represent the U.S. in Paris at each weight. My picks are 57 kilograms, Thomas Gilman; 65 kilograms, Zane Rutherford; 74 kilograms, Kyle Dake; 86 kilograms, David Taylor; 97 kilograms, Kyle Snyder; 125 kilograms, Mason Paris. Brought to you by BEG Sports. Like and subscribe.